our costumes offer it.
Yeah, let's get it out of the way early. That way, we don't have to keep our viewers in suspense.
Yeah. I'll go first.
James, you go first.
James, show us your cock.
Okay.
Yes!
Nacho!
I figured you were going to do something from that movie, but I was waiting to see what it was going to be. This is probably the ideal version.
Yeah.
Well, I really wanted to do his classy clothes on the night out where he's like perched on the wall like.
Oh yeah.
But I have assumed that buying like a blue velvet sweater would be much more expensive than just buying the most uncomfortable piece of shit.
Yeah,
Fucking
cape and
plastic
a
mask
luchador
ever.
mask.
Who else is up?
Who's next?
I'll go next.
Hit it.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
That's epic.
I'm Eddie Riggs from the video game Brutal Legend for the PlayStation 3.
I love that.
That goes hard. What the fuck?
This is one of my favorite games ever.
That's epic.
I like the long, luscious locks.
Where's your axe guitar?
He's disappeared into the void.
Yo!
Yo! Hit
He's
Emily
gonna
with it!
shred.
Yo. Fun fact, Chris Chan loves that game.
I know, me too. That was one of the
Well,
things
that leads us to
really into.
Andrew's costume.
Up next, coming to you from... I'm from Peter.
King
I'm
Kong.
Jack Black from
Yeah.
King Kong. Peter Jackson's King Kong.
That's
Dude,
awesome.
Andrew, can I just say, it's so crazy you chose that because before James revealed...
Are you Big Monkey?
No, I was gonna say,
Are
I
you
really hope
kidding?
one of us is fucking Jack Black from King Kong because that would be a really epic deep cut reference.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That movie
I
is
love that
super
movie.
fire.
Yeah.
That was one of Emily's suggestions for a Jack Black character too.
Oh,
And I was like, I don't
that's
think I can
epic.
get a suit. I don't know where I'm gonna find a suit.
Yeah, where'd you get yours, Andrew?
I stole it from Jack Black.
You
Oh.
raided his fucking mansion. Have you guys played the fucking Xbox 360 game?
It was the first game I played on my Xbox 360 in 2006.
Yeah, that game's so fire.
It was a launch title.
I have it on PlayStation 2 somewhere here.
It's the only video game that I've ever 100%ed because there's only 9 achievements in it, and you like literally get them from just doing the mission.
That's awesome.
That's
they really
sick.
gave
That's
up.
sick.
Yeah.
It's a good game though,
I mean,
honestly.
It is a really good
I
game.
remember one time being at an EB Games or a GameStop for my American friends, and I was overhearing two guys talk about racking up game score on their. This must have been like 2009 or something. And I remember one of them
Yeah.
talking about 50-cent Blood on the Sand being a good one to rack up easy gamer score.
Easy
Can
gamer.
you imagine
score,
putting in the
dude.
work to rack up your gamer score?
But no, these guys were because they were. I think they were the kind of dudes who buy like those $5 like bargain bin games just to like
Oh,
really
right.
quickly like smash them out and get like free
Achievement hunters, baby.
achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're on the
that
grind.
was a thing.
That's pretty
That was a
awesome.
thing.
I think
Yeah.
for me, I
Respect
just
to the
naturally
soldiers
played
out
so many
there.
video games that I think my gamer score is like 43,000, and I haven't added anything to that in like 10 years. So I was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty, I was a pretty big,
You were gaming
pretty
back
big
then.
gamer.
Big
Good.
gamer, that's
gamer.
big gaming.
But I was looking
43K,
at
not
an
bad.
hours.
achievement hunter. You know, I didn't even mean it. I would just walk in and I'd be like, oh, whoops,
Whoops.
30,000 gamer score. My bad.
Whoopsie. Drops
Sorry.
cock on table.
You see, a gamer like me doesn't need to try too hard to get achievements. I walk in and the gamer...
My father was a gamer.
My father had a 100K gamer score.
My father was an achievement hunter.
Doplex,
Oh yeah.
show us your pants.
So before
Yeah.
I show you guys mine, I want us to harken back to the early days of this show when there was a single film that would get referenced a lot on this here show that you're watching now. And guys, well, I've decided to embody that today. I am
He's shallow the hell.
Bro, he's
That's
fucking shallow.
beautiful.
I am
hell.
That's
Shallow
fucking
hell.
epic.
That's
I
awesome.
I painted
That is
this
cumbersome.
magnificent art piece here myself.
That's pretty much spot on.
I would just like to say that your head is not proportional to the body under cardboard.
I'm Jack Black if he got big head mode on.
You obviously haven't seen the movie, James. That's the whole thing, is that he has a disproportionately large head.
Humongous head.
Yes, but in the metaphorical way.
The movie's about Jack Black's neurodivergency and how he sees women as they truly are on the inside.
Is that real?
I don't know.
Wow. That's how I imagine film school is, Andrew.
That's pretty much it. Oh wait, you mentioned film school, and I had a update for you guys on my film
Oh,
school
yeah.
experience that I just found out. So my film school, very brief. I think I've talked about this before, but your whole class goes in, and you're kind of sectioned off into groups, and you have a cohort professor. Whoever your quote cohort professor is, that's the guy you are going through film school with. That's like the guy who teaches you most of your main classes. So I had someone.
Was he good?
No, he was not.
That's the worst.
You had to explain to him what a movie was.
Yeah, we had to tell him, like, dude, you like
You had to
you
break
push
it to him.
record on the camera, you shoot scenes, you know, you get you do your master, you get your coverage. Like, come on, man, this is basic stuff. Anyway, if you've ever heard me go like, do that kind of voice for that was because that's how he talked. He would just be up like, so
Was that the one you had at like 8 in the morning and he made you really tired?
No, well, I think I did have him for some 8 o'clock classes, but that was a different professor for
Okay.
copyright
Bullshit
law
time
or
to
some
start
bullshit.
university.
Anyway, running joke amongst the classmates, my friends and I in that class, was that he was very painfully, like, he wouldn't show it obviously, but he was painfully jealous of his wife's writing career because he was the screenwriting professor.
My wife's a bitch.
And so his wife wrote like some bullshit Amish romance type novels, you know, the shit that white women
The legend.
50 Shades of
Okay.
Amish.
eat the fuck up.
It's like where a guy that looks like Kudos, but like with way more abs, like like he took abs from like 4 other guys and stitched them to himself.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, girl.
I see that your husband died recently
The Amish Rizzler.
and you need help taking care of the family farm. I'm here to help
I
out.
see that cow don't want to listen to you none. Just let.
How about you give it
let me
secret?
touch up on
You ever seen how a horse licks a salt lick?
Well, that's what I'm about to do to your pussy, pilgrim.
it. You ever seen how a horse mounts and fucks a leather pussy to get cum out of it?
You heard of soaking? Let me show you. Get the bed sheets ready.
I have a buddy that can come over and bounce us like around, but we don't have to do it. Like, he can
We
just
don't have
push
to
us
do
and
it. He's got a really good sense of rhythm.
He's a professional.
So anyway, he invited his wife to like talk about writing and shit like that. And that was where I first was like, this guy seems to be talking about his wife's writing career a lot because he can't talk about his own.
Oh.
So there's just a lot of weird vibes from him over the course of that with his wife and women, yada yada. Turns out he's divorced.
Oh.
Which happened recently, which makes, I mean, if you had met him beforehand, you would have thought he was divorced already. He just gave that kind of energy off, just like pre-divorced guy.
My bitch wife.
My bitch wife has so many books sold that I can't even get a script done.
She got so many accolades.
And on top of that, he got fired from the school, which is historically hard to do. At Liberty, I think they're a little more sensitive about it because of all of the lawsuits that they got hit with for that specific thing. Oh yeah, he got fired for flirting with students.
No, he didn't.
2 for 2, baby.
Yeah, no, it was a solid 1-2 punch of just like, oh, yeah, that makes sense why he was such a fucking freak.
Hey, baby. You really suck at writing. It turns me on. You could never write better than me.
You're so much less threatening than my bitch wife.
I couldn't believe it though. I was so.
Wait, so did he get divorced because of that, or did he do that because of his divorce? And
I don't know. All I know is that the order of events was that he is divorced and then also got fired from the school for flirting with students. So it could be that his wife found out and then that whole fallout happened afterwards.
Yeah.
But also, my personal favorite theory is that she got too successful on her Amish love stories and was like, I'm leaving you, you fucking loser. And he was like, baby, please, no. I'll do anything.
Baby, please.
Baby.
Don't you
Amish
like a
love
man?
story.
Baby, please.
Maybe she found an Amishman.
Yeah, she found a nice big
Can we write
Amish
an
boy
Amish
to...
love story right now?
Probably
Yeah.
Oh,
could.
yeah, absolutely.
Here, I'll play a little backing track and then we'll get in the stew here.
The sun rose on a cool Pennsylvania morning. Reflecting off the morning dew, Jebediah heads out of his house to tend to the cows in the early morning. Someone take it from here.
It's me, the wife. My pussy is so wet. I've never had sex before. Please, Jebediah, please fuck me.
Jebediah's reflection reflected off of her wet pussy as he walked into the wet room.
He looked at himself in the reflection of her pussy juices. He pondered his life.
And he thought, surely not.
Please fuck me.
Sadly, just like every other time they've tried to fuck, Fred the pussy monster was in the way.
What is this? What is this creature coming out of me? Please, Jebediah, can you please squish it? Step on it and
right
squish
there,
it.
Jebediah.
It's me, the Amish police.
I hit the wrong button.
The Amish police reflected off the Jew on the morning, whatever Andrew said.
The Jew?
The morning Jews.
There's a wet Jew outside the house.
A wet, sparkling Jewish
The Amish
man.
can't abide a wet Jew in the field. They're gonna go stab him with pitchforks.
Mazel tov.
Get him, Ezekiel!
What if it was Amish people living in a tunnel under New York City instead of Jewish people?
I mean, it basically was.
Yeah,
It's
Aren't
a
the
similar
Jews
fit.
are basically
and
Amish.
Amish people like one and the same. They got like they're like Echo Fighters, you know, like they got the same getup, just like opposite colors.
Yeah.
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 That's the new character they're adding to Smash Bros. All religions.
Yeah,
Do the Hasids use electricity, or are they a no electricity group?
yeah. What's the story there?
What's the story, Wishbone?
Don't they're only allowed to use electricity certain times of the year or day or some shit, and they have to observe some nonsense. Sorry, not nonsense.
I'm not sure, actually.
I don't even know if that's necessarily Hasidic, but I think on Fridays or Saturdays, like Jewish people are meant to completely disconnect from like all earthly things and just like
They gotta
they're supposed
turn
to
off
like
their
relax
PS5.
and like go into nirvana with God.
Going in
That's kind of vibey.
Yeah,
telling
Hasidic
you,
Jews can
listen
be
to
found
Nirvana.
floating in the air every Saturday, actually, if you go outside.
And
they're
they
just
can be
like,
found climbing through the holes in the ground on Sunday.
you can find them in the dirt of the ground, you can find them in the air. The Jews are
I
everywhere.
have turned off my Nintendo Switch, Father. I'm ready to go into Nirvana with God.
Speaking of the Amish. Have been once or twice living in an Amish paradise.
Oh yeah, I guess that does work. James moved to New Jersey.
Oh yeah, James, we're finally alone, so you can tell us
I'm here.
your
I think we're
moving
alone
story.
now.
Okay.
Oh yeah, let me go back to my notes.
Okay.
I left
Research
myself like
this one out.
cryptic notes.
It's like
To jog your
fucking
memory.
Zodiac killer language.
Okay, so it all started on
Tuesday.
the 14th of September. I was finishing packing, and then I would try to go sleep, and then I couldn't fall asleep. I watched Queso all night. Before we left, we had to pack up my my cats. I got 3 cats.
Yep.
Ding Dong,
Right.
who's like the goofiest dog-like cat of all time, so
Yep.
he
Shout out
really
Ding
is no
Dong.
problem.
Shout out, big fella.
Mr. Jingles, who's like half feral and we like saved from the streets, and he's old and he has no claws because the people that had him first declawed him, I guess, and then they just let him out on the streets.
fucked
So
up.
he's
That's the
he's
worst
he's
thing
an
to do to a
extra
cat.
angry. Yeah, he's like extra angry because he got
No
no
defense
claws.
mechanism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then we got Zelda, who's we rescued all of them, but
Like the game.
yes, like the game. She is like she's like a scaredy cat, but not with us, but around other people, and she definitely doesn't like being in like confined spaces. So she was bugging out. And they all have like these little carrying bags. So we're running around for like half an hour at like 5 o'clock in the morning, getting ready to do a 16-hour drive, and we're trying to get these cats into bags, and we get Zelda and Ding Dong in the bags, and then their bags are like right next to each other, and Zelda's just starts beating the shit out of Ding Dong like through the bags,
Jesus.
and
I just imagine them just big plastic bags.
Like grocery bags.
Ding Dong's huge. He's a very large cat, and he has like claws and everything, but he's like so sweet to the point where it's like he's getting beat up on, and he's just like, "Ah." he's just like, yo, leave me alone.
He's the Christian
bro.
of kids.
Oh man, stop hitting
He basically
me.
is.
Damn
But
dirty
so-
troll.
So we're trying to get Mr. Jingles, who's like buried himself in the bottom of a mattress, into a bag.
He can
and
never
then-
get up out his mattress.
Exactly. Where's his normal meds?
You have to put some
give
more
Mr.
pills in his
Jingles
food
his
so
normal
that
He
he
didn't
survives.
he didn't
Yeah.
take his normal pills, so he wasn't sleeping on the ride there, which he should have. But hey, so we get him into the bag, and then we're like packing the car. We're making sure like the cars have everything, and then we see a shadow go flying, and we realize that we left like a little side pouch unzipped on the cat bag.
No.
So then
jeez.
Zelda busts out, and she's like hiding behind like 18 layers of boxes, and like won't come anywhere near anybody for like food or anything. She's like, bro, you're not putting me in the bag. But then we eventually get her in the bag.
Don't
We
put me in
pack up the
bag.
cars. I go to start one of the cars, the one that I'm driving. Dead battery.
Oh. Oh.
And it's like a 3-month-old battery. Dead.
Oh god. Yeah, and then it turns out you also forgot to attach that. You left a small flap on your car open, and then your battery started running around as well.
Bro,
chase
we saw a flash, and it was just the battery. Now the battery's running.
The
We gotta
tires
get it in the
popped off.
battery bag. No, but the battery died, so then we had to jump the battery, and then it was just like, well, now we're gonna drive 14 hours or 16 hours on a bad battery.
With
That
your
doesn't seem
fingers
like a good
crossed.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess that would generate a lot of power, though, wouldn't it?
That's the
That is
thing. It kind of like regenerates.
Yeah, that's what the alternator is for, I believe.
No, you're thinking of the brakes.
So then we started driving, and then my anxiety, which has been much better over the last year or so, started kicking in, and I was like teetering on the verge of a panic attack. So I was like, what if I had a heart attack and died right now while I was driving and killed my whole family?
That was fun.
And I got like locked on an OCD thought of that. But then I breathed myself out of it.
That's good.
Nice.
I grounded myself.
That's a good feeling.
Then just driving. Georgia sucks. South Carolina. I think South Carolina is probably the worst place on planet Earth. and not
Would you like
for
to
any.
elaborate on that?
It's not for any reason. The issue is the reason is that it's not for any reasons. It is completely void of reasons to feel anything.
To exist.
It's like the most worthless, flat, boring, ugly, nothing chunk of land on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Antarctica is like has more going on than South Carolina.
They got spot like worms and shit.
Yeah.
and
got the
I-95
icebergs.
turns into like a 2-lane highway instead of like an 8-lane highway in South Carolina, so it's just miserable if you get caught behind somebody.
Is South Carolina known for like anything on the
No.
American stage? Or do they have like a good football team?
Yeah, it's
or
the South version of
anything,
North
or-
Carolina. That's what it's known for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
I honestly don't think it is. There's a good YouTube duos come out of South Carolina, like Super Mega and
Yeah.
Rat and Link.
That is true, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
all I really.
yeah.
That's all they
That's-
export is
That's what they grow
specifically
there.
best friend YouTube duos.
The only thing
Yeah.
I can think of is Charleston as far as like cities that are but that's just because it's the capital, isn't it? Charleston, South Carolina is the capital.
Is Charleston
got
where
no
all the
idea.
racist stuff happened?
Dude, I
think so,
You
yeah.
can
It's
point to
everywhere.
anywhere in South Carolina, and you're gonna come up with a big thumbs up on that.
The one where the guy played bowling with the protesters. I think that was Charleston.
No, that was Charlottesville because that was
Oh,
in Virginia.
there
Because
you
I've,
go.
I've
Yeah,
been
yeah,
there.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been on that street.
Chris J was behind the wheel.
Yeah, Christian was behind the wheel. I was like, get the hell out of Quickville, everybody! You're stopping on Sonic.
damn dirty trolls! Get out, Quickville!
Speaking of Virginia, we made it to Virginia.
Nice.
Yo.
You crossed the border.
Vagina?
We were gonna go straight through, but the cats were. We felt bad for the cats because it's like, damn, they're like in
Well,
like
let's
a
let them run around
2
the
foot
field
by
for a
2
little bit.
foot box. Yeah, so we got like a hotel and let the cats like chill, and we slept for like 5 or 6 hours. But we got to Virginia and we stopped in. Oh.
I think you said Emporia.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's where we
Yeah.
stopped in Virginia. We stopped. The hotel was disgusting. It was like a Hilton or something, but like I don't know if it's
Yeah,
a
it's
a
Virginia
bad
thing
Hilton.
or a
It's
Hilton
Emporia.
thing. But yeah, like they were. There was
There's
like
just
no
nothing
up-
going on there.
There was just like nothing had been updated to the point where the walls were like shrinking from the floor, so there was just like ever growing gaps between the floorboards and the walls and
That's
everything.
It
It
was
was
so
like
like,
sick.
SpongeBob where the nematodes suck his house.
yeah, exactly.
James
there
called
was
Squidward.
there was one nematode sucking on the corner of the hotel somewhere and just slowly shrinking. But
Do you always find, James, when you go to anyone, I suppose, when you go to like towns like that, like these weird like transient towns, and you like go to like a fast food place or whatever, and you just see like all the locals like eating there, and you're like, what is your life like? You just live in this like
What
weird,
y'all motherfuckers doing around here?
Yeah.
like fucking Z tier city where just nothing happens, but it's like it's sizable enough that it's got like a decent like there's like a mall and shit.
Yeah.
But it's still just like, what does anyone do here all day? Is this a good life? Maybe it is. I don't know.
Who knows?
It's a simple life.
That's what all of Florida feels like, though. That's what I've tried to describe. Is like,
Yeah.
it's like it all popped up like 30 years ago, and it is just like, well, we'll just put all the basics everywhere. You got the beach, and we'll put like a pool hall that has a bunch of really shady characters.
Yeah.
And you know, do
I feel
your
like
thing.
Florida's like Hunger Games.
Yeah, if
Florida's
Hunger
a
Games
PvP
wasn't
zone.
set in like a nice, beautiful place, even though it's like scary looking or whatever, but like
Yeah.
you know, but like it's like a beautiful area that they'd be fighting in, and if it was set in like the most ugly, disgusting hellhole piece of shit ever.
Yeah.
But
This swamp.
we hit Virgin Land. I'm so fucking tired. I pass out. I wake up.
Drank.
My parents got me a Philly cheesesteak,
Yo.
and it's like
hell
3 in the
yeah.
morning. And honestly, point to Virginia, it was a fucking pretty good Philly cheesesteak.
Now, was it
Yeah.
good
Nice.
because it was 3 a.m. and you'd been driving, or was it actually good on its own merit?
I would.
It was genuinely good.
I would
Okay.
also say that I don't know if you would necessarily think it's extra good. Like if you had eaten it directly off of the drive, I would say it would be like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I don't know
Yeah, it
how
was
I
sitting
feel
there for
about
like
a Philly
4
cheese.
hours.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about a rise and grind cheesesteak. Who is
Yeah.
ripping ass? Oh, dude, I thought someone
What?
was going.
Oh, yeah, your mic is like perfectly under your nose. I think
Oh.
James can hear you breathing.
I thought
Sorry.
someone was
Sounds like bubble
ripping
guts.
ass.
Dude, it's like
Sounds good.
I can't move like 90% of my face muscles. But so yeah, but the Philly cheesesteak was fire, and then we take off from Virgin Land. And once we start
Virginia.
getting more towards like Washington, like to that part of Virginia, like I guess like Northeast Virginia, I'll give Virginia another point. When you're closer to the Carolinas, hideous, disgusting.
Hideous.
Mm.
It's
When
it's-
you get closer to Washington, you start getting a little. The hills start going. The trees start changing a little bit. It's still not like fully desirable to me, but it was where I first was like, oh man, I'm entering a habitable zone again. This is where humans were meant to exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make it a point, as much shit as I give Andrew about Virginia.
Nova and Northwest Virginia, we got hills and mountains and stuff. The south of Virginia is basically just like
Yeah, I'll
shaking
give
hands
Virginia a
with
couple
North
points.
Carolina.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? I'm here too.
And then I got to the DC area, and for some reason, like we were using the navigations in my parents' car. They were using this app called Waze, and I was using Google Maps, and my sister was using Apple Maps. And somehow, once you get to the DC area, like all of it just breaks down, and it can't tell you like where to go.
Yeah.
So we kind of like pinballed around DC. Luckily, we left at like 3 o'clock in the morning, specifically so that if that happened, it wasn't like rush hour in DC, because that would be fucked.
Yeah.
But we just like pinballed around DC trying to find our way from highway to highway, because the surrounding area is just so fucked because it's the capital, and
What's DC like?
boring.
it's boring. There are some really, there's a lot of historical charm, which is a very big
Oh yeah, Arlington and
vibe factor for
that
me.
surrounding area. Lots of really cool like buildings and like neighborhoods.
Yeah, it reminds
Super
me of
nice.
Philly.
But
Mm.
if you're looking for like, let's go to a big city to explore. DC,
Oh, yeah, no,
I would
yeah.
not ever
Yeah.
recommend it. It's like
There's
there's,
nothing
like
good.
cool
Yeah, there's
historical
Washington.
architecture because you know White House.
That's
and
it. Yeah, like museums and
That's it.
I just imagine Washington is just like the White House, but just the size of a state. Like that's
Everyone
all
has
they
a
got
White
there.
House.
It's one big
White
house.
at the size of this day. Well, we pinball our way through the state-sized White House. Then we hit good old Maryland, and we get
Yes.
to like past the Baltimore area,
Mary's Land.
and then that's where it's like. So we stopped at this place called Maryland House, which is just like a giant travel center. It's like the part of an airport after security where it's just like food and bathrooms and shit. But it
Oh,
was just
yeah,
in a
like-
building off the side of the highway. It was very strange. It wasn't like a rest area, and it wasn't like a restaurant. It was just like a giant like glass dome called
That
the
is
Maryland
weird.
House
I
with
think-
a bunch
I feel
of
like-
food places in it.
I
As
think
the shit
every
from The
state
Simpsons.
has one of those. Like
Oh,
just from
okay.
the road trips that we've been doing. I noticed like every state, like you have your rest stops, but then like when you're first entering the state, you have like it's
Yeah.
like a giant. It's almost like a welcome center where it's just
That's
Oh,
what it was.
yeah,
Yeah, it had,
yeah,
like
it's welcome
brochures
centers.
and everything.
yeah, brochures.
But it was like it looked exactly like an airport like lobby for some reason.
Yeah,
But
okay,
Yeah.
I know what
we-
you're talking about.
we got out there
That's so
and it was like, dude, 6 years. 6 years.
Whoa.
I was in Florida. My only respite was Alaska for like 3 weeks out of those 6 years, and a week in Texas, which really wasn't respite besides for seeing my boys.
Yeah.
And Dallas is pretty cool, but like as far as what I'm about to describe, 6 years of the most disgusting, putrid, thick,
swamp,
uninhabitable air that you've ever breathed in your life. And I'm driving from, and you know, like Virginia isn't as bad, but it isn't what I know. But I get out at the Maryland house and I take a big whiff of air, and literally just the big whiff of air, like I uncontrollably smiled. I was like,
dude,
this is
Daddy's home,
like,
baby. I'm back in
It was like a
Maryland.
memory. Like it was like I stepped into a skin that I hadn't been in like years.
Yeah.
The smell of just like the natural smell of earth in that area was just like, oh.
I can't relate fully to the whole being subjected to Florida dirty air for all that time, but every time I fly back to New Zealand and you step outside and it's just fresh and clean, and it's like smells like it's coming off the mountains itself, because it probably is.
It's so
just
nice.
Like, you're like, oh. And Melbourne has good air, but that's like when you go somewhere that does have good air, it's like, god damn.
Yeah.
But that's what it's like, not
air.
even particularly insanely good air. It's just like the type of grass, the type of trees, the type of, you know, industry going on around, the general type of like vehicle that is driving in that area, just everything that creates the atmosphere in that area. It's just like, it just smelled so much.
Yeah.
It smelled, felt, and breathed so much better. So it was like I wasn't expecting it at all, and I just stepped out of the car to go to the bathroom, and I took a whiff, and I was just like, it like hit me like a train.
That's exactly what happened to me when I moved back up to Alaska.
Yeah.
You spend enough time away from your home where you feel you belong, and those smell like you never really think about it till it hits you, and then you're like, oh my god, because when it happened when I had visited one time back in like 2014 or whatever. But when me, Courtney, and Jared were moving up here, I think somewhere in Alberta, British Columbia, somewhere around there, we got out and stopped at a gas station, and the wind was kind of whipping through. And right at about that area is where the spruce and alder trees kind of start growing, which is what we have up here. And just that Swedish pine-ish note hit me, and I was like, you smell that, Courtney? That's what home smells
you
like.
like a brain blast.
Yeah,
dude, it's
funny,
exactly what it feels like. It feels like a rejuvenation of your spirit, where you're
like I literally had like
I'm
a
where I'm
visual
supposed
thing
to be.
in my brain of like I took another breath and I felt the air and I followed it like through my body.
Yeah.
Like I felt the air like travel to all my senses.
It's a beautiful
and
thing.
nerves.
It's a very wonderful
beautiful
thing to
thing.
head back to your homeland.
As someone who grew up in California, which isn't exactly famous for its fresh air, I had a similar experience because I flew back to San Diego, which is where I'm from, and getting off that plane and getting out of the airport, San Diego has a very specific smell. And like, I did the same thing where I just like stood there and like, it was like kind of like overcast a bit. So it was like moisture in the air, and I smelled it, and it very much transported me back. But at the same time, it was still like masked by the smog and the pollution.
So that's kind of
sort of
part
that
of it
is
for
home.
you. It's like, it's like that's home, where you're just like,
exactly. Yeah. Like the smell is familiar. So it still gives me that same feeling, but it's also funny because it's like the exact opposite of what you guys experience going back to your home states and kudos or case home country. Yeah, for me it's just like this is my home metropolitan.
yeah.
Inhaling exhaust fumes.
But I guess me and Andrew get the double whammy of like, it's a smell that we like vividly remember and adore, and also it's like the difference between Virginia and Florida air and New Jersey and Alaska air is all like the actual air quality is so much better and like less humid and gross. So it's it's the double whammy of like, I'm breathing better and I'm smelling
things
smells.
again.
Yeah, that smells smelly.
But so
taking big sniffs.
Speaking of smelling, since we've been back, like I've had a deviated septum like my whole life, so I don't have like great breathing through my nose. And when you live somewhere for 5 or 6 years, you kind of like you just like get used to the norms, because what are you gonna do? So like I was kind of just like, I think I've mentioned it on the show before, but like food kind of like lost most of its flavor for me for a long time. Like I always had trouble breathing, and that was definitely a contributing factor to like anxiety stuff for me. Because like when you start breathing good, you like instantly like calm yourself down and shit. And just like the general being more out of breath, like being very uncomfortable and feeling like bloated and gross and everything. It sounds stupid, but the difference is like, bro, like I feel like a human again. Like I can breathe. I'm less anxious. I can taste food again. Like my cat Ding Dong, he has like a lifelong sinus disease, and it makes him like extremely snotty, and he's always sneezing and coughing and stuff. Since we've moved here, it's been cut by like 60-70%.
What if it was just because of Florida? What if he didn't even have that disease?
Exactly.
It's just Florida.
No, he does, because it definitely still it still affects him, but it's much less like it affects him much less.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It's like you're born into an environment, your body gets used to that environment.
Yeah.
And learns how to.
That's what I mean. It's like my immune system is like
exactly. It's like you still got whatever you have going on with you, but it had learned to deal with it better in that spot, and then you move to breathing underwater. Your body's like
literally,
man, what the hell? That's me trying to.
Then we saw, because once you get past Baltimore, like the next city that matters in the Northeast is like partially Philly, but like New York. So like you literally 2 minutes after we passed Baltimore, I saw like the first sign that was like New York, like 200 miles or some shit. I was like, oh,
you can start hearing Empire State of Mind being played by some
exactly.
Dominican guy
in the distance.
But then so the drive through Maryland was like beautiful. I didn't realize how nice Maryland was, but I very much enjoyed driving through Maryland. And then we hit Delaware, and we hit this fucking humongous bridge that was like, it was like a Red Dead Redemption 2 bridge or something.
Humongous bridge.
It's literally over like a ravine between one like giant mountain and another, and like it's not like a bridge that goes up and over something. It's just like connecting two things on the other side of a chasm with like ocean or water or river or something under it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was probably like a mile long, or like 3/4 of a mile long, and it was like it had to be at least like 250 feet in the air from like what it was over.
Damn.
It was insane. I don't know.
I might have
bridge
been on
it
that
was.
bridge before, because
You probably have.
Up
I mean,
that
we were
way
just
before.
taking the main way up.
There's
from.
I think I know which one you're talking about, and yeah, that is.
It was
insane.
insane.
It's a cool ass bridge to go over.
It was so cool. It's literally just like a slab of concrete. Like there's not any crazy like suspension or like anything to it, like architecture to it, like some bridges.
There's
but
no road on it.
there's no. Yeah,
It's just
no.
the side
no
parts.
lines.
It was just something about it. Like it looks like Uncharted or some shit. It was very like cool. Because you just come out of like trees on both sides, and then you just hit like a fucking chasm with like a giant bridge over it. It was really cool. So then we're driving from there. We hit Delaware. We go through Delaware. The final like 20 minutes into Jersey, or like we're in a very different part of Jersey from where I grew up, and it almost looks like New Zealand to me. Like it's the rolling hills and like mountains and the type of like foliage and everything in this area. Like it's unreal.
That's sick.
So we were driving in, and it was like, yo, what the fuck? This is so cool. And then I was like, what was my vibes when I left New Jersey? Like on my drive out of New Jersey in 2018, what was I doing? And then I was like, I was listening to the brand new, at the time, Gus and Eddie podcast. Shout out my boys. So then I was like, I need my vibes are so up right now. I'm back in business. It's beautiful. I got the windows down. I'm vibing. I got nothing. I've listened to every song I've ever known for 14 hours straight. I'm throwing on some Gus and Eddie podcast, and then it was just like the perfect little extra thing to tie into my vibes at the time, where like I fully felt like I like stepped back into the corporeal realm. Like I've been in like a state
Stasis.
of like stasis for like years, and I'm finally back in business. So I'm listening to Gus and Eddie. We get there. We come down into the basement. The basement's like half flooded because this bitch like fucked some shit up. So
She pissed in it before she left.
Yeah, she took one big pee.
It was her piss room.
But that was just another. There was so many like we said, the same thing with like the hurricanes. Is like it felt like for 6 months the gods were trying to keep me in Florida.
Yeah.
And
They
do
were,
anything they
yeah.
could to keep me there, and like the battery dying, and like just like so many of like the negative aspects of the trip.
A giant thumb came from the sky and just pinned you down for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
But so many of the negative aspects of the trip, it's like we get here, and even like the house is like there's something fucked in the house, but it was still like, man, fuck it, we're
Yeah, we're not
back.
going
We're
back.
back.
Fuck
Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
back.
no, exactly.
And then we got pizza that night, and it was the best pizza I've eaten in fucking 6 years. And I watched football, and I fell asleep listening to Gus and Eddie, and it was,
Yeah,
it
like
was
we're
just,
back,
it was
baby.
just, I was just like, oh,
2018 called.
life exists again.
Life's
Yeah.
Bro, I was
good.
in the hyperbolic time chamber for fucking 7 years.
You got cryogenically swamped.
I'm very happy to hear you're back where it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
It is like, I mean, you more than any of us, but like, I feel like everyone's kind of probably dealing a little bit with like the whole loss of time
Oh,
for
definitely.
like
Mhm.
COVID and like everything else. Because it does when you, like you say, you look back, it's like, what was I doing in 2018, 2019? What used to bring me joy? And I feel like I'm very nostalgic for that, even though it's only like 5 years ago. It's not really
Yeah.
that old. But you just,
Yeah.
what a nice
it does
time that
feel like
was.
a long time ago. I mean, we started BeefBoys in 2020, right?
2021.
Was it 21? I don't know
March
why.
of
I remember being
21, yeah.
2020.
Yeah, it was
'cause I
at
know
the
it was
very
like a-
beginning of
Which is,
2020.
it's
big,
weird
like,
because we
pandemic
didn't.
thing.
We haven't done any other podcasts besides this one, so it's like you
Yeah,
think
that's true.
easy
This
to
was the
remember.
very first podcast
Yeah,
we ever
this
did.
is the only one any of us have been a part of.
Been on.
Yeah.
It is crazy to think about though. Like we're coming up on 4 years. Like that's unfucking real. It
That
does
is
not
kinda
That
feel
is
like
pretty
that.
nuts.
That's pretty cool.
It does not feel
Yeah.
like that at all.
Yeah, because like
150
sometimes
something
I'll like
episodes
go
almost?
back and I'll watch shit from like, you know, fucking season 2 or on the island. I'm like, that wasn't that long ago. Like, wait a second.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait
yeah.
a
Fucking
minute.
time ago.
All the shit we're talking about.
Because you
was
think about
yeah.
like 4 years is like high school, and you think
Yeah.
about high school, and it feels like it like went
An
so
eternity.
slowly. It was
Yeah.
like
yeah,
was
every year was distinct.
Yeah.
like in a bad way and a good way. Like there was so much going on, and like there was there were so many like issues and good things and memories and bad memories and whatever. And it's like these 4 years, which there's just as much going on and just as much good and bad things, but it's like these 4 years have just like they feel like they're out the window.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
a
fly
blink.
by. High school's such a fucking formative time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking to someone about, like, I was like, telling some story when I was like 6 or 7. I was like, I was somewhere between 6 to 10. I was kind of realized, like, man, all of primary school or elementary school, as you call it, is like a big blur. Any of those events could have happened at any point in that. Intermediate school or middle school is like, I can kind of remember that. But then, like, every single year of high school is like a distinct year that I can remember exactly, like,
Yeah, exactly.
oh,
Yeah.
this thing happened. Oh, that was in this year. This thing.
That's funny.
that was
That's
that
yeah.
year.
It's the
Yeah.
exact opposite for me. Like, I think it's
Oh, really?
because my
Because
high
of all
school
the fucking
tenure.
sleeping pills you had.
Yeah, well, that and plus, like, just the entirety of my high school tenure was such a fucking just mishmash of me doing stupid shit to where, like, when I
Yeah.
think of, like, I can remember elementary school and middle school, like, very vividly, whereas,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
high school is just, like, I couldn't tell you what the fuck happened, like, throughout any of that.
yeah.
So
That's
it's very strange.
That is very strange.
Andrew?
Oh, I think something to the effect of like many people have said it, but it's very strange how it simultaneously feels like it's vanished and also feels like 5 million years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2020, especially like even if you push it one little year past 2020, 2019 feels like a fucking millennia ago.
Yeah,
It
that
does.
feels
Yeah,
like
no.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
It does not feel. But then it's also, yeah, like COVID just nuked so much of our 20s that it's
But
like.
yeah,
I
that's
don't
why
It
really-
really did.
It's really interesting for me because like within a year of me getting, or like a year and a half of me getting to Florida, like the whole COVID started, and then it was kind of like 2 years of like nothingness essentially.
Yeah.
As much as I look
It's like
back
a
on like
limbo.
2020 specifically with a lot of fondness, like there was a very distinct cutoff point of like, all right, 2019 existed, and then like 2023 existed, and then kind of in between that, it's kind of like a chasm of
Yeah, it's
experience.
just a blur.
Yeah.
It's not even a blur.
some
It's just
shit
like
happened.
it's like a void. It's like a black hole of like experiences and like formative memories or anything. So it really does feel like because of that, I just like jumped back over that chasm, and I'm like back on the other side now. And I
Yeah.
brought a couple of my best buddies over the chasm back with me.
That's us.
You know,
That's us.
Yeah, we came out
That's
of that
us.
as well. Well, You finally made it to New Jersey, and I couldn't be more happy for you.
You are now
I'm
officially
hyped.
a Joyzy boy.
I am. And it's like,
As far as my fingers can reach.
for all this, and also, just really quickly, shitting on Florida. I fucking hate Florida, but big shout out to all the people dealing with the hurricanes and stuff the last few weeks. That's very
dude, for
terrible.
real.
The time
And as much as I hate it there,
I hope
I
you're
just do not want it to come off as like, oh, those stupid
They deserve it.
Because like people, the Hurricane Helene like a few years ago, like it like annihilated some town in like South Carolina or North Carolina or something, like Asheville, and it was like a very like liberal hippie town as far as like that area goes, and people were like, well, I guess God wanted to like, that's what they get for spitting in the face of God. Like, I don't even feel bad for them. Yeah, it's like, that's like, obviously a lot of Florida I am not aligned with in beliefs and values and stuff. But regardless of that, like what's happening is very terrible and no one deserves to go through it. So my shitting on Florida is very much not in spite of people's current suffering. I just want to say that.
Right. That's a good thing to put out. Dude, I saw a video someone took of some parking lot or some shit that was flooded, and there was just 3 massive gators in there doing the like growls at each other, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? If anything goes wrong in Florida, it turns into Jurassic Park. Like, it just gets worse.
Yeah, it turns into that Assassin's Creed Black Flag mission where there's like giant fucking albino crocodiles trying to kill you while you're like driving your little boat through the compound.
That's right. That's a fun mission.
I love that.
There's also that video of like the fucking cranes that are like congregating, be like, hey man, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
I saw that. That was freaky. Yeah, it's like they like arrived like an hour before the storm, and they were like, guys,
like they're tailgating.
They're like J Station. Guys,
guys.
He's Ezra Geese-like, isn't he?
We gotta get
out.
him.
He got geese vibes.
Yeah, he do got geese.
No, but he wouldn't be warning people though. That is not a J Station trait.
Yeah.
He would not be trying to help.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Can I tell you guys about my airplane story?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Then I'll tell you about my airplane story, because I don't think I've actually told this on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Kudos, you go first.
No. I like yours more.
No, you go first. I want to hear yours.
Fuck! Now I feel like I've cut in line.
That's fine.
Okay, well, here's my story. Here's my violent story. I was very mad. So I went to visit New Zealand the other week. It was nice. I was just seeing family. It was a beautiful trip. Had some really nice times.
Nice.
But as we go to leave, I'm dropped off at the airport. And 10 minutes before I get to bed, like, we're going through security. We're like fucking waiting there. They're like, oh, hey, the arrival vehicle's having trouble landing because of wind and shit. But like, should be all good. We'll let you know. And then
wind and shit.
They're like, yeah, wind and feces. They had feces strike. But then they're like, oh yeah, sorry, it's been cancelled. Idiot. If you bought anything from duty free, you have to return it. And we have to get customs officers to come and like check you back into the country. Because I guess you're like the departure lounge is technically like a weird like neutral zone.
It's like, yeah.
thing, I suppose.
You can get away with murder there. Little known fact.
Yeah, exactly.
You can absolutely kill somebody there.
Legally, you're not in New Zealand anymore. You're in a port then, I guess.
Yeah, isn't that like technically true?
It's international waters, baby.
Man, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Can't get you to do anything in a departure lounge.
That's legal advice from the Beef Boys.
I hate when I see people like, jump up to be like first in line to get on a flight or whatever, but I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'll be the first in line to leave because I want to get to that cancellation counter first so I can get on the first flight like today to...
Yeah.
So I fucking stand at the front, I like power walk through, find the line, and there's already like 40 people in it. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like the first person to leave. How is there already 40 people here? Like, were these people who are like just never went through security or some shit? So I was pissed off.
They never even got on their flight.
Yeah, they were just waiting, loitering around the airport. But no, it was. I think another airplane had been like cancelled 10 minutes before us or something. So then we're there for 2 fucking hours, and we get all the way to the front. And at this point, it's like I thought I'd be home or like on my way home, about to like see Emily and everything. So I'm pissed off, and the weather's miserable on top of it all. And we get to the front, and they're like, oh yeah, first of all, you didn't even need to line up, you fucking idiot. They automatically rebooked you. Also, they rebooked you on the first available flight.
God,
and
slapped you.
It's 2 days from now.
No way.
Dude, I would... I'm like,
wait,
it's
from
drilled
New Zealand
into me to be polite to service people because it's like, it's not their fault. I might have gone ape shit if that had been.
Yeah.
I did start getting really, because I'm the same. I was like, this woman's had to deal with like 50 people before me. Like, I don't want to be mean to her or whatever. I don't want to be rude. But as soon as she said that, I didn't get rude, but I just started getting really like, I was obviously so frustrated that I probably started coming off as like really short. And then by the end, I just had to be like, yeah, no, you're all good. Sorry, it's not.
Yeah.
But
isn't that like the most routine flight in like your country though? Like,
well, we're going
there to Melbourne.
This was out of Queenstown, which is like, it's a really popular tourist place, but it is still like a smaller South Island, New Zealand town.
Yeah.
If it was out of Auckland or Wellington, yes, like there would have been tons more that day. But I think there was only like one or two Melbourne flights, and they were with different carriers.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty much my options would get fucked. So they rebooked me on a new flight. Mum had to drive a couple hours to come and pick me up so I could go back to hers and then stay there for another 2 nights.
Oh, that sucks.
So I did get to spend some more time with her, which was nice, but I was so fucking tired and pissed off. I like barely did anything either.
You just sat there with your arms crossed?
I pretty much did. I came home and I was so fucking mad. I was like, I'm going to bed. Fuck this.
It's like the last day. It's like the last days on our trips where it's like, what are we gonna what are we
everyone's
supposed
in like
to do?
limbo kind of.
I don't want to
like,
leave, but I'm also like, I just want to get it over with, and like I'm too tired to really do anything. And if I eat the wrong thing, I'm gonna shit my fucking pants tomorrow on the plane.
Dude,
so
yeah,
like,
exactly.
I literally just have to sit here and wallow.
Power.
With my boys.
I hate return stuff.
It's the worst.
My dad was conveniently in town, like just by coincidence, my dad and sister. So I met up with them, so they picked me up and I stayed with them on the last night of the trip. So it was kind of funny because then they dropped me off at the airport, and then I was like, when that happened, they were already gone because they're doing like a road trip. So I had to call mum. So then I'd already like had this big like nice goodbye with mum, and then I said, "Hey mum, can you come back and we hang out some more?"
Hey mom,
hey mom,
I miss
Mom,
you.
Run it again.
Dad crashed into the plane. Can you come pick me up? His car broke.
Mommy, please, I put my pants. Mommy, put my pants. Come pick me up, mommy.
It was just such bad timing because like dad was like quite close to me. He was like an hour away. Where he was staying after he dropped me off, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, we started drinking, so I can't come pick you up." He's like, "You can find some other way here. We've got a spare bed," but like I just couldn't. So I don't know. It was just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And then I obviously spent the next 2 days like nervous. I wasn't going to get out again, and I'd have to go through the whole fucking wait another 3 days or some shit.
Ugh, yeah,
we got away in the end. That was my cool plane story.
That's epic.
Did I picture a cool plane
that
story?
That sucks shit.
Yeah, I had a cool plane story.
Tell me while I eat this sandwich.
Mine isn't as all over the place as that. Mine is very stationary. On my way back from, because I went to San Diego, but whatever. On my way back, I sat next, I got a window seat, thankfully. So next to me is this like Indian dude. Not that his race matters, just kind of makes it funny. And next to him was like...
It justifies the accent you're about to do.
So yeah, next to me is this Indian guy, and next to him is this like older white gentleman, right? So we're on the plane, and I start smelling this fucking odor of like just straight death, right? Just straight up fucking shit. And so anyway, I look over and sorry. First of all, I am so tired, right? Like the night before I had gotten on the plane, I went out drinking with Chad. So I literally only slept for like 2 hours because my plan was I'm going to sleep on the plane, whatever. And so I'm trying to sleep and literally, hold on, let me back up for a second. It's this guy's breath, okay? This guy is sleeping next to me and he's straight up like this. He got... Courtney, put the picture of him right here. Let's shame this fucking asshole.
That was the picture that you took. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I took a picture of the guy because I wanted you to see the direction in which he's facing me and just how fucking open mouth his shit is. He's just straight up like leaned over, right? He's got his hood up, his fucking, his little, what do you call those things? Those drawstrings in his hood tied, so he looks like fucking Kenny from South Park. And he's just breathing in my direction, just... To the point where, like, I literally had my fucking shirt over my head. Like, I was trying to make everything apparent that this guy's breath is just dangerous, right? And so I pull out my pack of gum and I place it on my, like, thigh, and I'm just contemplating. I'm like, do I offer this guy gum? Because I can't fucking sleep.
You just put it in his mouth slowly like a
you just unpeel it and just like, it's like Indiana Jones, you swap out.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't have noticed.
You swap out his what's it called? The You guys ever have one of those calcium things you get on your like tonsils?
Oh, tonsil stones, yeah.
Oh, tonsil stone, yeah.
Those
Them shits are gross.
Yeah.
Those
Maybe
are
that's what he had.
It probably is exactly what it was.
Yeah, it's like my fucking finger goes in his mouth and there's like darts on the walls of his mouth just like shooting at my finger and a boulder. It's like a tonsil stone.
You have to swap the gum with the tonsil stone like really quick so it doesn't trigger the fucking pressure plate.
The booby traps.
That's
And then you
so
throw the
fucking
tonsil
gnarly.
stone out the window and it like explodes in midair.
So anyway, so I'm like, I'm making it. I'm trying to be as obnoxious as possible because I really want to sleep. It's a short flight. It's only 3 hours, but I'm like, I really want to sleep. And this guy's breath, like, I fell asleep for 2 minutes, and his breath woke me up. That's how bad it was.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude.
That
was a weird question.
Dude,
But,
it's
like,
embarrassing.
Was the
Yeah.
air conditioning work? Because like I'm getting a scenario in my head where I'm like already kind of warm and there's a
Right.
terrible smell and
Yeah.
dude, another situation where I'm gonna end up going ape shit on somebody.
no,
Yeah,
dude, I
your
I
stomach
legitimately
couldn't survive that,
wanted to
Andrew.
so bad.
Way
'cause, like,
overstimulated.
I
Yeah.
don't get nauseous very easily, but like when something like that happens and it's like a repeated smell, and I know that it's like, and I like just start to like obsess over imagining how disgusting it is
Yep.
that this guy's like
Yeah.
breathing.
That's
in.
what I was
exactly
doing.
what it is.
Like,
yeah.
and you just
Yeah.
can't shake the feeling, and then you can't shake the nausea. Once I get nauseous, I get really ape-like, and
Yeah.
and especially on a plane, like I just need to escape at that point.
Yeah,
Ape
I
escape.
would have freaked. I would have straight freaked on his pussy.
well, that's the thing, right? Like, I hate being confined, which is why I hate flying. So like the fact I'm like literally smushed between the wall of the plane,
that sounds like hell.
yeah, and like this guy, and then so
That's
anyway,
awful.
yeah, so we land finally, right? And to answer your question, Andrew, yes, the air was on, but this dude's breath was so fucking like
It's so
powerful that it cut through all of that. And so again, the whole flight I was battling with I wanted to offer him a piece of gum. Like I wanted to be a dick about it because like I'm looking over at this guy's teeth and you straight up see his shit's like fucking plaqued over. Like the smell is just abhorrent. So anyway, we land and the older guy that's next to him, he's been dealing with this shit too. Cause like this dude's like a fucking sprinkler system just spraying his breath in every direction.
It's like a fucking fan.
Yes.
Oh.
And so we land, and this dude, he gets up and he offers the stinky guy, he says, "Hey, do you want a piece of gum?" And the guy goes, "Oh, no." And the old guy goes, "Oh, well, because you really need it." And I was like, "Oh, this guy beat me to the punch." He fucking,
Hell yeah. And
said
then you
the
should have
line
also
bar
had
before I
some
did.
gum, like, yeah.
I know,
maybe.
I should have.
R.I.P. his fucking Uber driver. Local Dallas Fort Worth Uber driver Bingo Dingo crashes and dies on the fucking 405 because some guy breathed into his nose so hard he went into a catatonic fucking
Yeah.
state.
He went blind.
Immediately died.
It's like that episode of SpongeBob where he eats like the roast beef or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Not at all, my boy.
Not a
I'm ugly. I never thought about the idea of that as an Uber driver though, because like I don't drive Ubers, I only ride in them. And you get in some Ubers and they do smell. Some of them smell
Yeah.
ripe, or dudes who just like
Yeah.
smoke in their car and also are Uber drivers. It's like, come on, man, like pick
Yeah.
one.
Come on, brother.
I never
know,
thought
that's
about what it'd be like to be an Uber
dying
driver.
here.
You'd get some stinky motherfuckers in as well.
Oh yeah.
in your
Yeah.
car, and you'd be like, oh man.
Yes.
Man,
Did I-
this
did I
better
tell the
not be
story?
permanent.
When I came back from America earlier this year, and the guy who sat like on our road, did I tell that story on Beef? Because it was very similar to your story. Which
I
is
don't know.
petty,
I don't know.
petty kind of. Okay, we're coming back from New York, so we flew through Doha, and
What's that?
Yeah, where's Dohar?
it's in the Middle East. It's a very, I can point it. It's like the tip of something or other. It's like the UAE, I
Do
think.
they have the TSA in the Middle East? Or is it kind of just like, well,
Well,
Actually, speaking of TSA, sorry, kiddos, real quick. I did have TSA fucking rub my cock. When I was getting, like, straight up, like, fucking rubbed my
that's
cock.
Did a
awesome.
little
Because-
bit come out?
It's a little bit of white goo came out. It made me feel so good because the fucking asshole, like the guy who's like in charge of making sure you put all your shit in your buckets. I started taking my belt off, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what I was conditioned to think. You put your belt in the fucking bucket.
Yeah.
The guy told me to keep it on, and I think I don't know if he did that to like sabotage me.
dude,
Yeah, so I'm like,
this guy deserves
every airport is different. You take your shoes off, they call you, they tell you put your fucking shoes back on. Like, if you take your shoes off, you might bomb us. And then if you don't take your shoes off, in some places they scream at you and call the fucking the drug dogs and stuff. It's like how is it not standardized?
I know, it makes so fucking sense. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go through like the little magnet thing, you put your arms up and the little fucking thing gives you cancer or whatever. Yeah. And then I went through and they screamed at me for having my belt on. And I'm like, the guy back there told me to leave it on. And then they were like, no, you're supposed to now I have to search you. Oh, like all like pissed off. So then like I take my belt off. I have to go through, put on the fucking thing.
I have to reach into your balls now.
Reach on your
This really friggin' sucks.
I have to search you.
Pulls out my dick, starts sucking it.
Oh,
like,
dear.
He has a plan with the other guy. He's like, any sexy Mexican. So you make sure they keep
Tell him to keep that belt on.
But dude, it was.
Can you put these
like
coins in your pants, please?
It was so uncomfortable to the point where I said something because like, you know, I go over there, they pull you to the side, they make you T-pose, and then like he starts like checking my fucking what do you call it, your waistband, right? He's like feeling everything, and then like he feels my dick, and then like just like goes up and down twice, and then like goes down my leg, and I'm clearly
he legit stroked your shit,
dude, like straight up, and I like just look on my face was like clearly uncomfortable, and I was like, do you do this to everybody?
You probably do this to every girl that comes in here.
He's like, only the ones that want
only the ones that look like you.
Yeah, and then he put my shit in his mouth, and then we fucked, and then that was it.
The
in the cancer tube,
because it's like they're not police, but you kind of feel like they have the ability, they have the right to fuck you as much as police. Like if they wanted to, they could be like, "So I need you to come and sit in this room for 5 hours while we like screen you." Or something.
I need to come sit on my lap for 5 hours.
My favorite genre.
Every single time I leave the Melbourne airport, 100% of the time, we have this. You know, you put your passport. I don't know if this is in America. You put your passport in shit, and it like scans your face, and then like takes a photo to like compare it to your passport to make sure it's really, you know, who you really are. And every single time I go to leave Melbourne, they're like, oh, sorry, so we need you to come and like do additional screening or whatever, which just means you had to like, instead of a machine doing it, you have to go to a counter and a guy like reviews your thing or whatever. But like it happens every single time, and it got to the point I was like, that when I was leaving a couple weeks ago, I was like, hey, this happens to me like every time. Like, is there something wrong with my passport or whatever? Because I didn't tell you shit.
There's something wrong with me.
Well, I just put this thing. I'm like, I've never been detained for it or whatever, but it makes you nervous flying, like having to fucking do shit like that. So I was like, oh, is there like any reason do I need to get like a new passport, or do I have like something? Is, you know, am I on a list?
Am I on a list?
Sure, it's just randomly chosen, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to argue with you because again, you feel like the sort of person who could just like throw me in a holding cell for 5 hours if she wanted to.
You're going to prison.
But my theory is I've got like a doppelganger or someone with a similar name who is like on a watch list. Because every single time they look at me and they're just like, oh, you gotta fuck off. But it's like, it's only when I leave Melbourne. I've never had it. Even when I come into Melbourne using the same machines, it's never an issue. So
that's what my dad had.
Yeah,
except there was a big black guy, but he was on the
like, you're him.
That's so funny.
Dude, TSA would check Courtney's hair all the time. The weirdest shit.
Like monkeys looking for bugs.
She's very white passing, but her hair, they just lock in on it. They're like,
no, that is exactly what it is.
Specifically, your hair is pre-selected. We don't need
your Mediterranean.
Especially if Courtney was in her tan era, immediately they'd see the hair, see like a shade darker than you normally see a white person. They'd be like, check this bitch's hair. She got a bomb in there.
I just like to clarify from my joke before. White people can suicide bomb too.
That is true.
I can't think of any examples, but I'm sure that
we're certainly capable of it.
We're just as capable. Yeah, we're just as capable.
Anyway, I went to Doha. It was alright. We get on the flight in Doha back to Melbourne. It's like 14 fucking hours long. It's really long. But we get on it. It's like really empty. It's like half empty. I'm sitting in the middle row with Emily. It's a 4-person like row, and then like 3 people on the opposite aisles or whatever, and there's a woman like sitting next to us, and once we realize it's like empty, there's like entire like rows of 3 next to the window, whatever, just completely empty, so you can like fully lie down and shit. And she was like, oh, I might go sit over one of those. I was like, yeah, go for it, that'd be, you know, good on you. And then we'll have the whole fucking floor to ourselves. Like, this is a win-win. So we sit there, there's a space, then it's me sitting, then it's a space, then it's Emily sitting, and I'm just like lounging out, got my feet out, fucking chilling.
Bro got his feet out,
toes spread.
And then it's very fucking cold for some reason because we're just taken off, and I guess they hadn't like kicked on the AC yet or whatever, and the pressure up, and it was freezing anyway. It was really cold for some reason. So I'm like, I'm just gonna like cuddle up next to him and put this fucking blanket on us and just chill for a little bit. And so I move over one seat, and now there's 2 empty seats. And then this fucking piece of shit, this fucking asshole, moves out of his seat and comes and sits on the end. And I was like, you piece of shit. Because it's not even it's not my seat. I can't say, hey man, that's my seat.
Right.
There's no ownership outside of the implication that I was looking forward to using this to lie down.
What a piece of garbage.
And so literally I spent the next 14 hours fucking with this guy, like just talking really loudly. In the middle of the night, I just started turning my light off and on. I was like, what's the most disruptive I can be without actually
you open the little air conditioning tube to like the smallest pinhole, so it's like insane pressure, and you aim it straight.
It's only hitting him in the face.
Yeah, so he dries his throat out and he's like dying while he's trying to breathe while he's sleeping.
You open the emergency door and he gets sucked out.
I think I ripped ass on him at one point. Like I was like, I fucking hate this man so much.
Because it's like, was he on the outside of the wherever he came from? Like, did you see? Was he in the aisle?
He was in one of the aisles, and I think he must have asked like hostess if he could move or some shit. Because I remember
but you go from an aisle to another aisle, and it's like. Neither of you probably wanted to use that middle seat, so it's like he just went to another seat and then made the seat useless for both of you because neither of you were really gonna like fully claim it. He wasn't. So it's like you made no difference for your comfort.
Yeah, you just made my life worse.
You've just deleted this seat from like existence for either of us for no reason.
You made my flight uncomfortable.
And then
like if he wasn't stuck in the middle of like 4 people, I guess I could understand if there was just like no other options. Like fair enough. But like to go from an aisle to an aisle, it's like it's almost
fuming. Absolutely,
that's
spitting.
You should have killed him, honestly.
Honestly,
International waters and all that.
Just like, flight attendant, can I get a pillow, please? And you just.
Hey, flight attendant, are we 200 miles off the coast of Hawaii?
Are we above international waters?
Hawaii. Yeah, hostess, could you please give me an X-Acto knife?
Roughly, what are the laws here?
Hey, hostess, go gadget me a fucking gun.
Okay. We keep one on the plane in case. Every flight just has like a gun. But it's like there's like a metal, like a loop around the fucking trigger guard or whatever.
Yeah, so like you can only take it so far.
Yeah, hostess is allowed to kill one passenger.
Yeah.
So you can't take it into the cockpit and threaten them with it. But you can shoot a passenger with it if you needed to. It's a perfect system.
Yeah. Honestly, that is a good system.
But it only unlocks after you use the roll of duct tape that every plane comes with.
Yeah.
Like if you can't tie the guy up to his seat good enough with that roll of duct tape, then you get to shoot him.
Yeah. That's how they calm down the Burger King guy.
I'd say pretty sure it is.
You didn't see it in the video, but they took him behind the curtain and shot him.
Yeah.
Oh, well, not that.
It's just like silence for 5 seconds, and then you just hear.
And then you hear the pressure getting sucked out of the plane because it's a plane.
Yeah, he's like a 50 caliber fucking Desert Eagle, and it goes straight through his head and blows the back of the plane off.
This is the biggest fucking puncture wound.
It's completely unnecessary. They could have just tied him up. They could have just you hear the air hostess.
One of the flight attendants starts getting sucked through a hole like that big and turned into fucking mush.
It's like those underwater pipes that crabs get stuck on sometimes. Just
that shit's awesome. Yeah,
with the saw blade.
I think I've seen one of those like sucking like a whole fish or like a shark or something.
That's crazy.
I wish.
Yeah, that would suck.
Boys, I'm losing steam. I need some eagle powers.
Eagle powers!
I need to go eat an egg.
Go eat an egg, brother.
Let's go and eat a za.
I need to go and have the third act of my game get horribly cut in half because of EA's poor, shitty producer.
I'm down.
Damn.
All right.
Let's all say our favorite word to end this episode at the same time, okay?
Okay.
All right.
3.
Okay.
Just don't think about it. Just do it. 3.
Okay.
2, 1.
Cheesecloth.
James, what was that one you were going with?
Yeah, hold on.
No, we already cut.
Oh, okay.